In a bustling, modern African city, Kofi and Amina lived a seemingly perfect life. Kofi, a dedicated engineer, and Amina, a passionate teacher, had been married for 8 years. Their careers flourished, their love was strong, and their home was filled with warmth. Yet, beneath their smiles lay a sorrow that weighed heavily on their hearts. They were unable to conceive a child. They had tried everything, medical treatments, prayers, even considering adoption, but nothing worked. Every failed attempt leaves Amina heartbroken. Each passing year deepened their heartache, and Amina often wept in the silence of the night, longing to hold a child of her own. One weekend, they traveled to Amina's ancestral village to visit her grandmother, Mama Akua, a revered elder known for her deep connection to traditional wisdom and spiritual healing. Amina knelt down before her. Mama Akua, I am tired, we've tried everything. We don't know what else to do, Amina says, her voice full of quiet desperation. The old woman, moved by their sorrow, led them into her dimly lit hut and handed them an ornately carved calabash, its surface etched with ancient symbols. Mama Akua places a gentle hand on her granddaughter's shoulder. This calabash has been in our family for generations. It carries the spirit of our ancestors and the wisdom of the earth. Take it home, care for it, and trust in its power. When Kofi and Amina returned home, they opened the calabash and found 7 small, glowing seeds, each pulsating with an otherworldly light: red, green, blue, yellow, purple, orange, and white. Amina recalls her grandmother's instructions: to plant them, nurture them, and trust the process. She planted them in clay pots on their balcony. Amina follows the ritual, watering the seeds every day, singing to them each morning, whispering her prayers into the soil. Slowly, the plants begin to sprout, their leaves glowing with an unnatural radiance. The plant's energy is palpable. Peaceful, invigorating, almost otherworldly. After months of care, an extraordinary change occurred. Amina discovered she was pregnant after her grandmother's call, instructing her to pluck 1 leaf from each plant, make it into a paste with water, and drink. Their joy knows no bounds, their long-held prayers finally answered. Amina carries the miracle of triplets, 2 boys, Togo and Zubieri, and a girl, Nia, named after the vibrant hues of the plants. It seems like a blessing too great to be true. As their children grow, so does the mystery surrounding the plants. The couple soon discovers that the plants possess extraordinary healing properties. A neighbor struggling with infertility drinks an infusion made from the leaves, and soon, miraculously, she too conceives. A man with chronic illness experiences a complete recovery after consuming a single petal. Word spreads rapidly, and people flock to Kofi and Amina's home seeking a taste of the miraculous plant's power. At first, the couple was honored to help. But then, something changed. Those who used the plant's healing properties began to experience strange and terrifying side effects. A woman developed painful rashes that refused to heal. A man's eyes turned a ghostly white, his sight lost to an unknown force. Some reported eerie nightmares, shadowy figures whispering in their ears at night. Horrified, Kofi and Amina consult Mama Akua, who listens gravely to their concerns. When she hears of the side effects, her expression darkens. The plant's power was never meant to be shared with outsiders, she warned. You have broken an ancient covenant. These plants are sacred to our bloodline, and their secrets must remain within our family. As the effects spiral out of control, the world takes notice. Biogen Tech, a global pharmaceutical company, begins making inquiries. Dr. Akam Yufat, a brilliant but ambitious scientist, approaches Kofi under the guise of researching the plant's medicinal potential. He offers large sums of money for access to their extraordinary properties. When Kofi refuses, the company escalates their pressure, not just through words, but by sending spies to track their every move. A former colleague of Kofi's, now working for Biogen Tech. Kwamisi and Kofi had once shared a professional bond, but the years have strained their friendship. Kwamisi, now desperate to prove himself within Biogen Tech, begins to exert pressure on Kofi, though it's clear that his motives are not entirely aligned with the company's stated mission. He's torn between his loyalty to Kofi and his ambition, pushing him toward morally dubious choices. As the pressure from Biogentech intensifies, Kofi and Amina are caught between their desire to protect their family and the weight of the knowledge that they've unleashed something far beyond their control. The plants, once a miracle, have become a ticking time bomb. One night, after weeks of escalating threats and surveillance, Biogentech makes their move. Dr. Yvonne, now fully unmasked as a man driven by power, in collaboration with Kwamisi, cornered Kofi on his way home from work, offering him a life of unimaginable wealth, medical advancements, and influence. Dr. Yvonne's voice drips with persuasion. "We can change the world, Kofi. We can heal millions. We can do it together." But Kofi refuses, his resolve stealing. "I won't let you destroy what my ancestors protected. Not for any price." Meanwhile, back at their home, Amina is left grappling with what feels like an irreversible loss. In a desperate bid to protect her family, she turns to Yinka, her lifelong friend who has been her confidant through the years. She pleads with Yinka to help, who assures her not to worry as everything will be okay, but the influence of Biogentech is insidious. Yinka, having been promised not just wealth but security for her own family, is conflicted. She's torn by the loyalty she feels toward Amina, but also the promises of an easier life. Desperation breeds compromise. Overwhelmed by the weight of her choices, she reaches out to Kwamisi, secretly meeting him and revealing the location of the plants. One fateful night, a group of masked thieves hired by Biogentech stormed into their home, overpowering Kofi. They tied him up, while Amina is left trembling in a dark, empty room. Armed with detailed instructions of the plant's location, when they reached the designated spot, they found nothing. The plants have become invisible to the naked eye. However, frantic and confused, the thieves start to tear through the house. They ransack the apartment in search of the plants, overturning furniture, breaking into closets. As they approach what seems to be a faint shimmer in the darkness, a sudden sharp, invisible force flings the operatives back, sending them crashing into walls, their limbs twisted unnaturally. The plants, empowered by their connection to the earth and the ancestors, begin to shake violently. Leaves unfurl, sending a blinding green mist into the air. The plants whip with ferocity, and the energy that had once been peaceful now feels dangerous, vengeful. The room hums with an eerie energy, and the air grows thick, charged with an unseen presence. The plants, powered by their fury, unleash a violent burst of energy, knocking down furniture, shattering windows, and sending the intruders fleeing in terror. Kofi and Amina, horrified by the escalating situation, once again seek guidance from Mama Akua. "There is only one way to restore balance," she says gravely. "You must sever the connection. Bury the plants beneath the sacred tree in the village, and in doing so, you will sever the plants' connection to this world." The decision weighed heavily upon them. To keep the plants meant further suffering and exploitation. To destroy them meant giving up the very miracle that had brought them children. As Kofi and Amina debated their choice, the world around them grew more chaotic. More people came seeking the plants, some desperate, others aggressive. A shadowy syndicate, hearing rumors of the plants' power, sent spies to track their every move. The family's home became a fortress, guarded by unseen forces they barely understood. One evening, masked men stormed their home, subduing Kofi and Amina. But as the men reached for the plants, they released a wave of energy that sent the intruders sprawling, their bodies paralyzed with fear. Yinka, who was also secretly working with the men, witnesses firsthand the violence erupting as the armed men storm the house to seize the plants, stands frozen, witnessing the destructive power of the plants she had helped betray. She watches, horrified, as one of the operatives, who had been particularly cruel toward Amina, tumbles toward the door, his eyes blank, his body contorted, as if the plants had taken a toll on his soul. Yinka's internal struggle becomes unbearable. She is paralyzed by the destructive consequences of her decision. In a flash of realization, she watches the plants react, glowing with an intense, blinding light, as if they were sentient, aware of the betrayal. Overcome with regret, Yinka turns to Amina. I am so sorry for everything, I was deceived. She collapsed to the floor in tears, unable to reconcile the two halves of her life, the greed that had pulled her in, and the love she once shared with Amina. Mama Akua arrived the city, performing an emergency ritual to calm the spirits within the plants. She gave Kofi and Amina a final warning: if they did not act soon, the spiritual balance would be disrupted beyond repair. With heavy hearts, they set out for the village, making their way to a sacred burial ground deep in the forest. Along the way, they faced tests from the spirits of the plants, visions of their worst fears, voices whispering doubts into their ears. Amina sees herself, barren and alone, losing all her children, while Kofi watches helplessly as their children suffer. The spirits test them, challenging their resolve. Would they sacrifice their dreams, their hopes, and their happiness for the greater good? But their love and determination kept them steadfast. They arrive the village, their minds heavy with the knowledge that their lives will never be the same. The spirits, who have watched over them, given them joy and peace, now demand an offering: the plants. Amina's heart aches as she looks at the glowing pots one last time. The children, she thinks, remembering the joy the plants brought them. But she knows, in her bones, that the power was never theirs to control. Mama Akua and the village elders led them deep into the forest to perform the ritual. As they approach, the spirits are restless, and the air crackles with tension. The sacred tree looms ahead, a towering, ancient entity whose roots burrow deep into the heart of the earth. The spirits demand an offering: the plants. Mama Akua, with the knowledge passed down through generations, begins the final ritual to sever the connection between the plants and the world. With tearful eyes, Kofi and Amina makes the ultimate decision to bury the plants beneath the sacred tree, severing their connection with them forever. The earth swallows them, and the energy dissipates. With the plants buried beneath the sacred tree, peace begins to return to their lives. The energy that once seemed to vibrate through the world now fades, leaving a quiet stillness. People affected by the plants, those who had experienced side effects, those who had been touched by the plant's power, begin to recover. The woman who had developed rashes sees her skin heal, and the man whose eyes had turned ghostly white regains his vision. The nightmares, the whispers in the dark, dissipate as if they were never there. Biogentech, having failed to acquire the plants, retreats into obscurity, and Kwamisi, now disillusioned and torn, resigns, his own moral compass shattered by the choices he made. The shadowy syndicate that had been lurking in the background vanishes, as if it were never part of the story to begin with. Kofi and Amina, having lost the miracle that brought them joy, realize that they've gained something far more valuable. They still have each other, their children, and their heritage. Though the plants are gone, the wisdom of their ancestors lives on in them. Amina, though grieving the loss of the plants, finds peace in knowing that they made the right choice. As they sit together, watching their children play, she quietly vows, I will protect the wisdom of our ancestors. I will never let it be misused again. They know that the future may hold other challenges, but for now, they are at peace, no longer burdened by the dangerous gift they had been given, but instead grounded in the love and lessons they've learned from their journey.
If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to our channel for more African folktales and legends. Help us keep the traditions of our ancestors alive by sharing our content with your friends and family. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.